Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you've spent any time with Charles Dickens, well, Oliver Twist is probably a name you know well. It's just one of those undeniable classics.
It really is.
Today we're diving deep, really getting into its murky, fascinating world.
Mm.
Our mission, like always, is to cut through the chatter and give you the most impactful takeaways from the sources you've shared with us. We want to uncover some maybe surprising things about its context, the characters, and those big themes.
Yeah, think of it as a shortcut, really. A way to get genuinely well-informed about this novel.
So you're ready for that next conversation about it?
Exactly. And we're not just looking at the plot, what happens to Oliver. We're digging into why. Why does this story still hit so hard?
Right.
It's this potent mix, isn't it? You've got the harsh social commentary, the realism, which is just brutal sometimes, and then these characters. Unforgettable characters.
Absolutely.
And we'll see how Dickens's own life, his own experiences, which the sources shed light on, really fueled so much of this.
Okay, so to really get Oliver Twist, we probably need to start with the man himself, Charles Dickens. I mean, everyone knows he's a literary giant, but what did the sources tell you about the specific things, historically or personally, that were swirling around when he created this particular world?
That's fundamental, really, because Dickens wasn't just vaguely complaining about poverty. He was actively taking aim at specific policies, particularly the Poor Law Amendment Act of 1834.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what's really fascinating, and the sources bring this out, is how that law shaped the novel. These workhouses, the kind Oliver starts out in, they weren't meant to be comfortable. They were engineered, really, to be so grim, so dehumanizing.
To put people off.
Precisely. The idea was deterrence. People would rather starve, literally, than go there. It was punishing the victims, essentially. And Dickens, well, he knew poverty, he'd seen it, lived it as a child in some ways.
Right, that personal connection.
Absolutely. And he used Oliver Twist to just expose that reality. And also the huge issue of child labor was everywhere.
It's amazing how he became such a powerful voice for people who didn't really have one. Did the sources point to any specific event in his own life that really cemented that made him determined to write about these things?
Oh, definitely. One source really highlights his childhood, his father's imprisonment for debt in Marshalsea Prison.
Right, I remember reading about that.
Yeah, and that forced young Charles, just a boy, into working in a blacking factory, a horrible, grimy place. And that experience, it scarred him. It left this indelible mark.
So it wasn't academic for him?
Not at all. It wasn't research from a distance. It was lived, breathed trauma, you could say. And that's what gives Oliver Twist that raw, authentic feeling, I think.
Okay, so against this really, really grim backdrop, we have Oliver's story. For anyone who maybe hasn't read it in a while, or perhaps not at all, can you give us the quick spoiler-free version? What's the core of his journey?
Well, at its heart, Oliver Twist is about this young orphan, Oliver. We follow him from a truly miserable start in a parish workhouse.
The infamous workhouse.
The infamous workhouse, yes. And then through just a series of awful misfortunes, bad luck, exploitation, he eventually ends up on the streets of London, which are, dangerous, crime-infested.
A whole different kind of peril.
Exactly. And his whole struggle really is about trying to hold on to his innate goodness, his innocence, in a world that seems absolutely determined to corrupt him, to crush him. It's about survival, yes, but also about finding belonging, finding kindness in a society that's just incredibly harsh, especially to the vulnerable.
And on that journey, he meets some of literature's most memorable people.
Yeah.
I mean, these aren't just characters moving the plot along, are they? They feel like embodiments of the book's big ideas.
That's perfectly put. Yeah, each one is like a crucial piece in this thematic puzzle Dickens is building.
So let's break them down a bit.
Well, obviously you have Oliver Twist himself. He's the center. He represents that innocence, that vulnerability, that sort of inherent goodness, fighting against the odds.
The moral core, almost.
Yeah, you could say that, yeah. Then you've got Fagin. Oh, Fagin. Cunning. Manipulative. He runs this den of young thieves, training them. He really embodies how corruption works, especially how it preys on the young and desperate.
He's chilling in his own way.
Deeply chilling. And then, perhaps even darker, is Bill Sikes. He's brutal, violent, a housebreaker. He's like Fagin's muscle, but also represents the raw, animalistic violence simmering beneath the surface of this London underworld, just pure menace.
No redeeming qualities there.
Very, very few, if any. But then contrasting him, you have Nancy. She's such a tragic figure.
She's complex.
Incredibly complex. She's trapped in that criminal world. She's Sykes' lover, but But she shows these flashes of real morality, of compassion, especially towards Oliver. She's that glimmer of humanity in the darkness, even though she can't escape it herself.
Such a sad character.
Terribly sad. And then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have Mr. Brownlow.
The hope.
Exactly. The kind, benevolent gentleman. He sees the good in Oliver, offers him a chance, protection, kindness. He really symbolizes justice, compassion, the possibility that good can exist and prevail even in this world.
A necessary counterpoint.
Absolutely necessary. And we can't forget the artful dodger, Jack Dawkins.
Right. So memorable.
Isn't he? He's Fagin's star pupil, his best pickpocket. He's got this charm, this swagger, but he's completely a product of his environment, utterly corrupted, even at his young age. He embodies that tragedy of street crime, of children forced into criminality.
So Dickens uses all of them.
Yes. Their interactions with Oliver, how they treat him, how they clash with each other, it all just brilliantly lays out the core conflicts. Good versus evil, innocence fighting corruption, that faint hope for redemption against overwhelming odds.
So these characters, they're not just driving the plot, they're the lens through which Dickens examines these huge societal issues. When you look at the sources, what are the really major themes that keep coming up in Oliver Twist?
Well, Dickens, he was never subtle about using his story as a social commentary. And in Oliver Twist, several themes are just woven right through the fabric of the story.
Like what, specifically?
First and foremost, poverty and social injustice. That's inescapable. Dickens is really critiquing the whole system, the poor laws, the workhouses, the general attitude towards the poor. He shows you the squalor, the desperation in London. It's a damning indictment.
He forces you to look at it.
He absolutely does. And closely linked to that is the theme of innocence versus corruption. That's Oliver's personal fight, right? But Dickens broadens it out. He's exploring how society itself, through poverty, neglect, cruelty, actively works to corrupt innocence. The sources really highlight that moment where Fagin isn't just teaching Oliver to steal, he's trying to make him like it.
Yeah, that's dark.
It's a profound violation. Then there's the whole exploration of crime, not just the acts themselves, but the underworld as a system, its causes, its devastating effects on people and society.
And within that, morality comes up constantly.
Constantly. You've got this whole spectrum of morality, from Sykes's utter depravity to Brownlow's goodness, and Nancy, somewhere tragically in between. Dickens is always probing those moral compasses.
And amidst all the grimness, is there room for goodness?
Yes, and that's the crucial theme of compassion. It's rare in Oliver's world, but those moments from Nancy, from Brownlow, they shine so brightly precisely because they stand in such stark contrast to the overwhelming cruelty.
So if you tie it all together.
If you connect it to the bigger picture, yeah, these themes are Dickens holding up a mirror. He's forcing his comfortable Victorian readers to confront some very uncomfortable truths about the world they lived in, and maybe, just maybe, their own part in it.
Now, Dickens' style is obviously incredibly effective, but you do sometimes hear critiques, don't you? That maybe the characters lean towards caricature or the plots get a bit, well, melodramatic. How do the sources square that with this idea of his unflinching realism? What made his approach so unique?
That's a really good question, and it's true, you do hear that. But the sources suggest his genius wasn't about creating, say, a perfect photograph of reality. It was more about his specific, powerful blend of different elements.
Okay, so what's in that blend?
Well, first, there is realism, but it's a very specific kind. It's visceral, sensory. He uses this incredibly vivid, sometimes almost grotesque imagery to plunge you right into the filth, the smell, the noise of the workhouse or the London slums. He makes poverty feel horrifyingly real, not abstract.
You can almost smell it sometimes.
Exactly. Then, woven into that is the social critique. He's not just describing, he's condemning. And he often uses tools like satire, exaggeration, caricature. Think of characters like Mr. Bumble.
Oh, Bumble, yes. Pompous.
Utterly pompous and hypocritical. He uses these types to expose the flaws and injustices in the system. His stories weren't just entertainment. They were meant to provoke, to make people think, maybe even push for change.
Their characters themselves.
Ah, yes. His absolute mastery of memorable character creation, they just leap off the page, don't they? Fagin, Sykes, Nancy, the Dodger.
Yeah.
They're iconic. They stick with you. And maybe they are sometimes heightened or exaggerated, but that's part of why they embody those social forces and critiques so powerfully and unforgettably. It's that unique combination that makes Dickens. Well, Dickens.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, let's bring it to today. Why should someone listening right now, you, still care about Oliver Twist. It was written so long ago. What's its relevance beyond just being a historical novel?
That really is the vital question, isn't it? Why does it endure? I think its lasting power comes from how strongly it portrays things that are sadly timeless. Social inequality, the struggle for basic justice, the vulnerability of the innocent.
Those haven't gone away?
Not at all. The specific Victorian workhouses, thank goodness, are gone. But the underlying issues, the vast gaps between rich and poor, the way systems can trap people, the fight just to survive with dignity, you see echoes of that all around us in different forms in the modern world.
So it makes you think about today.
It absolutely does. It forces us to ask, how do we treat the most vulnerable in our society? Who are the Olivers or even the Fagins and Bumbles of our time?
So Oliver Twist really is much more than just a story from the past. It's this enduring testament to the human spirit, isn't it? And a powerful, timeless call for compassion, for looking out for each other, for challenging injustice. Those critiques still resonate so strongly.
They really do. And maybe here's a final thought to leave you with. Consider how Dickens' incredible knack for creating characters that are just so deeply memorable characters you feel you almost know is key to why these themes hit home. It's through them, through Oliver and Nancy Fagin, that the novel's message about inequality and the fight for justice continues to echo across the centuries, prompting us, hopefully, to keep reflecting on these issues right now. Who are the faces of injustice and compassion in our world today?